He securely fastened 2 stones in his palms, stepped onto his skateboard, and began a heart-pounding descent. He spread his arms freely, as though merging with a breathtaking landscape. The walls around his heart began to crumble as his speed increased. In that very moment, he truly freed himself from life's constraints. Witnessing these magnificent vistas for the first time, his gaze grew profound and resolute, seeming to convey that with dreams in our hearts, nothing remains impossible. Yet mere days ago, Walter was an unremarkable man who could only daydream. But now, he not only plunged into the ocean, but dared to trek alone through nature's marvels. What could have sparked such a transformation? Our story begins with a handwritten letter from a photographer, specifying that negative number 25 was his finest work ever, what he called the quintessence of life, and must grace Life magazine's final cover. Yet when they processed the film, they discovered negative number 25 was missing. This single negative would forever alter Walter's destiny. Walter was but a timid clerk, developing photographs daily in a chilly, dim-lit archive room. For 16 years, he'd repeated this routine, his meager wages barely covering essentials. Like most, he meticulously budgeted every expense. Timidity compounded by empty pockets kept him from pursuing love. At 42, unwed, and never romanced, though his crush worked just floors away. Countless daily encounters never prompted a simple hello, until he overheard Cheryl's divorce. I also signed up on the most popular dating site, so he immediately logged in and did the same. Here, he not only discovered Walter's interests, but was deeply impressed by the 3-legged dog he owned. After mustering courage through lengthy, he finally messaged Cheryl, only to see it inexplicably fail. Customer service revealed his profile is incomplete, missing details like interesting places he has visited or meaningful experiences he's had. Walter sank deep in thought at these questions, suddenly hearing a dog's bark. He takes a running start and leaps toward the adjacent building. Moments later, he rescues Cheryl's 3-legged dog. Cheryl expresses profound gratitude for the rescue. While descending, he crafts a prosthetic for the pup. Yaoning Chiriles instant admiration. Calmly, Walter states, "My life motto is embracing adventure, courage and innovation, but snapping back to reality." He realizes those heroic deeds were just a daydream. No explosion, no puppy, no Cheryl in sight. Just the last bus he missed while dreaming. Rushing to work, colleagues inform him Life magazine's been acquired, with new management planning to eliminate all print media, meaning his 16-year career in print transitions to digital, signaling massive company layoffs. The transition manager proves exceptionally rude and arrogant as Walter earnestly describes his role. He said he didn't hear me because he was listening to music. Not to be outdone, Walter fired right back, prompting laughter from everyone in the elevator. However, this empowering moment was just another one of his daydreams. In reality, he meekly repeated his question, only to be mocked by the bearded man while zoned out. Hearing Cheryl mention waiting for a fridge repairman all weekend, Walter dramatically burst through an icy backdrop, frost-covered, transforming into a daring world explorer, and confidently introducing himself to his crush. Just as he flirted confidently with her, the bearded man eyed him mischievously again. He shouted Major Tom, a nickname referencing the song Space Oddity. When Walter didn't react, he flicked a paperclip at him. The hit snapped Walter out of his daydream. Cheryl witnessed the whole awkward moment. Later, Walter headed to the damp basement as usual, developing negatives submitted by Life's global photographers. Though monotonous, he loved it. His meticulous work had never produced a flawed print. The shift to digital meant no more film processing, making his role obsolete. Life magazine received its final roll of film from master photographer Sean O'Connell. Sean sent Walter a handwritten note, thanking him for 16 years of flawless collaboration, praising how Walter always developed his photos to reveal their truest essence. Along with it was a wallet embossed with the company motto, "Every employee is striving for this." However, what he never expected was just discovering that negative number 25 for Sean's final cover was missing, when the sales department requested negative number 25 immediately. So when the bearded manager asked him to he could only claim it was still being developed. After buying time, he frantically resumed his search. Post-meeting, he mustered courage to greet Cheryl for the first time, knowing she handled negatives for all photographers. He hoped for Sean's contact info, but learned Sean had no fixed address, no phone, no friends, and shipped from different locations each time. Still, Cheryl offered to help Walter, suggesting the payroll clerk might have leads. that might hold clues. Walter took them to the lobby fountain, where he scrutinized each with his specialty loupe, a ritual honed over years. Cheryl asked about negative number 25, but Walter said clues might be in these photos, showing a thumbprint, dark water surface, and an unidentifiable fragment. Cheryl shared her interpretation. Nervous near his crush, Walter acted awkwardly. Making Cheryl uncomfortable, she excused herself and left. But after 2 steps, Walter stopped her to showcase his proud work. Yet this too was just Walter's daydream, until the woman he admires, about to leave after greeting him, woke him up. As soon as she left, Walter received a call from his mother. She was worried about moving. The piano left by his father was too large to fit into the new home. To accommodate the piano, Walter had to spend a fortune renting a large house. After settling the rental, his sister gave him an action figure, his favorite childhood toy. While packing, she found a travel bag. Inside, Walter discovered the travel log his father gave him, still blank. All these years later, he used to be such a spirited kid, the skateboarding champ with a cool mohawk hairstyle, until his father's death forced him to shoulder family responsibilities. That vibrant teenager became this unremarkable middle-aged man. As he quietly lamented his life, he spotted a new clue. The water's surface in the photo showed letters, likely a ship's name reflected on the water, Walter guessed. Cheryl offered to help identify them, but realized she had to pick up her son from the... She invited Walter along, and he eagerly accepted, while Cheryl called colleague Sean for clues. Walter casually played skateboard with her son, though an adult who hadn't skated in years. His childhood skills made him surprisingly good. He kept glancing to see if Cheryl noticed his tricks, though he botched every major move. Her son was thoroughly impressed regardless. From colleagues, they learned 2 checks had recently been sent to Sean. One is Princeton, just nearby. The other is Greenland, and the search shows that ship is registered there. He's never even left the state, let alone traveled abroad, and the trip would cost him most of his life savings. Just as he's agonizing over this, Cheryl's ex-husband calls. Watching Cheryl walk away, Walter slips into another daydream. He imagines Cheryl rushing into his arms, their love story unfolding like the curious case of Benjamin Button. Richinha magical, touching final. Cheryl's voice calling his name snaps Walter back. He expects her to mock his zoning out, but instead she encourages him. What the Beard said about Major Tom, total nonsense. That song's about courage and venturing into the unknown. It's an incredible, cool song. Her words fill him with courage. The Beard drills it in. Next time we meet, I'd better see negative 25. A colleague declares Sean never sent it. Walter eyes Sean's photo on the wall skeptically. Suddenly, Sean in the photo seems to come alive, beckoning to him, urging Walter to find him. This time Walter doesn't daydream. He chooses bravery. He decides to journey in search of Sean. As he departs, the company motto materializes around him. To see the world, to find each other, to feel everything, to face danger, to break barriers, to bridge distances. This is life's quintessence. As the plane descends, the view outside takes Walter's breath away. Not long after, he arrived at a terminal smaller than an airplane. He headed straight to a local pub and asked the bartender about the ship in the photograph. He learned they airdrop mail to that vessel every Tuesday. Before he could get more details, a heartbroken drunk suddenly lunged at him, poking and prodding at his face. Irritated, Walter got into a scuffle with the drunk. Just as things turned dangerous, Walter spotted the thumb from Sean's photo. They calmed down and sat to talk, revealing the drunk was the pilot who delivers mail weekly. He dropped Sean on that ship days earlier, when Sean snapped the thumb photo. Minutes later, the pilot prepared to deliver radio parts, inviting Walter to join him. Seeing the approaching storm and the pilot's glazed eyes, Walter hesitated. This seemed life-threatening. The pilot didn't insist. Downing his beer, he staggered toward the helicopter. Watching him leave, Walter slipped back into daydreams. Cheryl appeared, strumming a guitar, singing her celestial ballad about courage and exploration. Drawn by the song, Walter rose in his dream, stepping outside. Fueled by Cheryl's voice and gaze, he leaped onto the lifting helicopter. As Cheryl watched, he vanished into the vast ocean. Seeing sea and sky become one, Walter marveled at his own bravery. With the pilot leading, they approached the ship, and raging waves threatened to swallow the vessel at any moment. Worse yet, the helicopter can't land due to the smoke. The drunkard tells Walter to jump onto the boat with the parts. To everyone's shock, he actually makes the leap. But he misunderstood the instruction, plunging into the open sea instead of the life raft. The drunk Mint jumped to the life raft on the other side. Before Walter can react, a shark closes in. The old captain's bursting with excitement, crew restraining him. He dive in to join the fight himself. Walter fends off the shark using the parts case as a weapon. The intended life raft finally rescues him. Walter pinches a sailor's face, confirming this is real. Note the daydream this time. Thrilled by his shark encounter, Walter's elation lasts mere seconds. He learned Sean departed for Iceland 4 hours ago. Sean left a cake in the fridge before leaving. A sailor past mealtime offers it to Walter. To Walter's astonishment, it tastes exactly like his mom's recipe. He spots writing on the wrapper, Sean's upcoming itinerary. Tomorrow's destination, a volcano in Iceland. Since Walter dropped the radio part in the ocean, the ship must dock in Iceland for replacements tomorrow. Walter's mishap becomes his ticket to Iceland. Disembarking, he's warned, you're racing the clock now, because those burly stevedores would snatch the only bicycle ashore. Walter dashed off like a sprinter upon hearing this. He seized the bicycle triumphantly, pedaling fiercely toward Sean's last known location. A riverside cabin faced the bay, as troubled as Walter's own mind. Emerald Mountains encircled Iceland like a storybook fantasy. En route to the volcano, Walter got a call from the dating site's customer service. He recounted his shark wrestling tale, then raced onward toward volcanic plumes. Distracted, he smashed into a road sign, flinging the wrecked bike aside before sprinting ahead. He forded raging rivers, scaled cliffs, and finally spotted figures after relentless running. He tried asking kids for directions, but language barriers blocked communication. Spotting a quality skateboard in a child's hands, Walter remembered Cheryl's son might love it, producing his super stretch action figure to barter. To his surprise, the trade succeeded. Walter then entered an inn, finding the owner frantically packing luggage at the back. Luckily, the innkeeper knew Sean, and had booked him a plane an hour prior. With time slipping away, Walter ignored shouts, darting off desperately. Suddenly a serpentine road stretched before him. But this time he didn't retreat. Instead, he made a bold gamble. Grabbing 2 stones, he tore his tie in half, to strap them to his palms. Nothing stops a madman. That's that. Walter glided all the way into town. Not a soul in sight. And a blaring siren suddenly erupted from the speakers. Just then, the innkeeper came chasing after him in his car. The innkeeper had been trying to warn him about the imminent eruption, but Walter dashed off before he could finish. Fearing for Walter's safety alone there, the kind innkeeper drove out to find him. Meanwhile, Sean's plane flew overhead, standing atop it to capture this rare volcanic eruption. As volcanic ash billowed toward them, Walter jumped into the innkeeper's car just before the smoke swallowed them, escaping safely. The innkeeper then took him to a pizza chain restaurant, the very place Walter had his first job. The familiar surroundings made him think of his late father and his own bleak life after his father passed. Wanting to confide in Cheryl, he called her, sharing both his recent adventures and childhood memories. He resolved to confess his feelings after returning home, remembering how he'd once hesitated even to send an emoji online. Unknowingly, Walter had changed, opening his heart and taking initiative in their relationship. But emptied his already thin wallet. After hanging up, a colleague texted him, urging him to return the number 25 negative immediately, or they'd both get the boot. Broken out of options, Walter headed back to... As soon as he entered the office, Walter ran into the bearded guy. He demanded Walter hand over negative number 25 immediately. Not only was his request denied, but he was fired on the spot. To make matters worse, he learned Cheryl had been fired too. Hoping to comfort her while delivering a skateboard to her son, he was stunned when a man answered the door. Walter lied, claiming to be Cheryl's colleague looking for her. But when he heard the man call out babe, he knew something was wrong. He left the skateboard at the doorstep and walked away silently. With both career and love life in shambles, Walter felt utterly defeated. Despite his thrilling Nordic adventure, his reality remained a mess. The motto in his wallet now felt like fate's cruel joke, so he tossed the wallet immediately upon returning home, then slumped on the sofa, studying the unsolved third photograph. Suddenly, his eyes fell on a massive piano before him. Its chipped corner matched the object in the photo perfectly. Even the damage was identical. His mother revealed Sean had visited a week prior. She'd taken that photo with Sean's camera. Sean had shared his upcoming assignments: volcanoes in Iceland, then snow leopards in the Afghan Himalayas. He'd taken her homemade cakes before leaving, planning to bribe war-torn warlords with them. Everything clicked for Walter. That's why he tasted her cooking on that Icelandic boat. The truth was out, yet nothing mattered anymore. "I've lost it," he murmured. Sean's crucial cover photo led to his termination. There's no longer any need to search for Sean or the photo. But Mother gently reminded him, "Since you're Sean's most trusted partner, even though you no longer work for the company, you should see this through and complete his final work." Mother's words rekindled Walt's spirit. Determined not to disappoint them, Walt dusted off his long and used travel bag and immediately set out for Afghanistan. This time he began writing a travel journal, documenting everything he witnessed along the way. He hired 2 guides to take him into the Himalayas. This was a world he'd never experienced. Before the ascent, he received a special mountain blessing ritual. En route, he witnessed colossal waterfalls cascading down cliffs. He encountered the legendary warlord, and with a bribe of his mother's famous cake, he passed safely. Snow-capped peaks and rushing rivers, nature's magnificent gifts. And there, where he least expected to be, he trekked across sun-drenched snowfields and breathtaking mountain ranges. At 18,000 feet, Walt felt the profound smallness of humanity. At a sacred marker, his guides indicated he must continue alone. So Walt began his solitary trek across the roof of the world. Snow-capped peaks glittered under the sun. The majestic mountains stood as nature's masterpiece, blazed like his rekindled spirit, vibrant again. Searching for Sean, he rediscovered himself. Crossing a ridge, his dating app notification, "Congrats on finally filling out the forms." His unique journey is making him quite popular. But unfortunately, Cheryl has deactivated her account. Walter has come to accept this. He asks customer service to close his account too. Just then, a voice speaks close to his ear. He turns and is stunned to see it's the very Sean he's been searching for. Walter introduces himself to Sean, then asks about the missing negative number 25. Surprised, Sean says it's in the wallet. "The negative was my gift to you," he explains. "The wallet was just a wrapping." Walter's stunned. He'd thrown the wallet away. Sean's deeply disappointed to hear this, calling it a truly beautiful shot. As Walter presses for details, Sean points to his camera. The snow leopard he's waited for finally appears. But Sean doesn't shoot. "Why aren't you taking the picture?" Walter urges. "C'est un déplaise. I don't shoot just for the sake of shooting. When I love a moment, I don't capture it. I stay in it." The leopard vanishes. Sean steps away, contentedly, heading to join locals playing soccer downhill. Walter tries to ask about the photo's subject, but Sean just smiles without answering. Letting go of his obsession with a photo, Walter joins Sean's soccer game. In Afghanistan, Walter tasted true freedom. But back in New York, he's detained. Afghanistan's in conflict, so all returnees face intense questioning. Now he must find someone to vouch for him to be released. Suddenly, he thought a perfect person, the dating site customer service rep he'd been speaking with. The rep picked him up from the station and treated him to a meal while they talked. The rep said Cheryl never responded to anyone. She seemed like a very particular woman. Then he asked Walter about his daydreaming habit. Walter then realized his daydreaming had been decreasing lately. To cover upcoming expenses, Walter had to sell his father's piano. After appraising the piano, his mom told him to put the check in his wallet. But she then pulled out the wallet he discarded from his bag. Collecting Walter's discarded items was a long-standing habit of hers. Walter was stunned to see the recovered wallet. This meant negative number 25 was found. Without examining the negative, he went straight to the office and gave it to Beard. Even though he no longer worked there, he asked Beard if he knew the company motto. After Beard fumbled unsuccessfully, Walter stated, "You may be forced to push out veteran staff who believe in our values, but you don't have to act like such a jerk." Beard was left speechless. This confrontation was no longer just Walter's daydream. He'd truly spoken words he'd never dared to before, and taken action he hadn't dared to take. Afterwards, he actively sought new employment. His resume no longer had blank spaces. It was now rich and remarkable. He also received a video message from Cheryl's son. The little guy has now nailed the ollie like a pro. On the day he collected his severance pay, Walter spotted Cheryl nearby. Instead of watching from afar, he approached. Cheryl asked in confusion why he'd vanished without a word. Walter explained what happened when he delivered the skateboard, but it turned out to be a complete misunderstanding. Her ex had just come by to fix the broken refrigerator. Seizing the moment, Walter made his move. He asked Cheryl out on a date. As they walked and talked, they passed a newsstand. Cheryl wanted to see the cover of Life magazine's final issue. The cover read, "Dedicated to the people who made it featuring Sean's quintessence of life photo, Walter himself, deeply focused at work after 16 years of service, captured studying a negative by the company fountain. The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, directed by and starring Ben Stiller, 2013. Walter escapes reality through vivid daydreams, where he lives extraordinary adventures, confronting bullies or rescuing Cheryl as a hero. Yet in reality, he's a timid man paralyzed by fear, whose daydreaming makes him a workplace joke. He's never traveled or done anything remarkable, remaining solitary well into middle age, without even the courage to pursue his crush. But this unassuming man finally found courage to embark on an unimaginable journey when his job required it. This adventure became his ultimate breakthrough. From a daydreamer to a dreamer to doer, he dared to speak his mind and confess to the person he liked, and bravely face an uncertain future. He no longer shrank back. His gaze became unwavering. Truth is, most of us are daydreamers, who've never been anywhere remarkable or done anything noteworthy. We think daily about breaking through, yet repeat the same routine every day. We tell ourselves we're not ready, not equipped to change. But the only thing stopping our breakthrough is ourselves. Change demands courage, but once committed, taking that first brave step reveals imagined obstacles as mere mental blocks we created. Even when real challenges hinder change, the very effort makes life extraordinary.